Hello and welcome to My Thriving Child Coffee Chats. Again, this is a chat every Friday where we go over a different developmental activity that you can do with your child this weekend or sometime in the future. And what we'll do is we'll break down different components of the task that you can grade to make easier or more challenging and just fit their skill level, and just ways to tailor it to more of their interest. So in the spirit of spring, today's theme is an Easter egg hunt. So this is a pretty traditional activity, but what I'm going to do is, again, kind of go into what skills this activity brings in, and then how you can structure this activity to add more skills in. So the first part of the Easter egg hunt process would be the preparation. And you probably noticed I've added this piece into a lot of activities because it's a great way to add in that executive functioning piece. So executive functioning is the ability to plan, to gather materials, to execute this plan that they made. So a really good skill, very useful in life and school and all sorts of things. And so the more you can work on it, the better. So yes, so adding in that executive functioning piece. So there's lots of ways that you can do this. Again, you can have them, if they're older or if it's more their skill set, to make a list of the things that they want to have in the Easter egg hunt. So this could include the amount of plastic eggs, the different materials that they're going to need to put inside of the eggs, and again, how many of each, where this Easter egg hunt is going to take place, maybe what are the rules. So again, a lot of different components there in that planning part that you can add. And, if they're more at the stage of just helping you gather the materials, that works too. But just kind of find where they're at. And again, if it's for more challenging, they can be making that list and making those rules and making the plan. And then to grade it to be a bit easier, you can have them just collect the materials, maybe check mark when they collect a certain item, that type of thing. So that's a good way to add in that more executive functioning piece. And some ideas of things that you can put in these eggs, aside from just candy or other food, which no problem with those things, but just from an occupational therapy perspective, I wanted to add in some ideas that help kind of more with development, that are fun, play-based items. So obviously the plastic eggs, small stickers, small erasers, small stamps, mini squeeze balls, bouncy balls. On a little piece of paper, they can either write out a joke, or they can write out a riddle or a clue if they wanted to extend it into a treasure hunt later. They could also add mini markers or crayons, mini slime, putty, Play-Doh, beads, that sort of thing. So again, get creative, and the whole idea is for them to be really engaged in this task. So if they're having a hand in helping plan what those items are going to be, the more likely they're going to be engaged in this task and really take ownership of it. So once you've got those materials completed, you kind of are gathered, now you're on to the stage where you're going to put those eggs together. And so this actually includes a lot of different skills, and there's different ways that you can do it to build on those skills too, which I will go into. So, of course, to pull the plastic eggs apart, bilateral skills, using both hands together. Strength too, that can be a pretty challenging task depending on where they're at, so that can be a really good thing to work on. And again, if they're having trouble, you can do hand over hand, kind of fade out with verbal cues or physical cues. So start with more cues and then fade as you go. Can be a good way to work on that. And so then what you'll do is you can add in a functional scanning piece. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes. So you'll add in a functional scanning piece. So what you can do is spread out all the different materials that you have on the table, and then name a particular item or a color of an item, and they have to scan throughout those items and then place them in the egg. So just, again, functional, organized scanning pattern, being able to look in a busy background, so a little bit more of those figure ground skills, being able to pinpoint a specific item in a busy background, working on some of those different things. And then, of course, visual discrimination, so being able to decipher between a different size, shape, or color. So when you give them a specific item, they're inherently having to use that skill to scan and find it. So what you can do too is you can give them a list. Okay, so hey, you need to remember 2 erasers, 1 sticker, 1 bouncy ball. That needs to go in the red eggs, right? And so they have to kind of use that working memory or visual memory if you show them the lineup that they need to put in those red eggs, and then take it away and they have to remember what to put in the red eggs. You can also change this up by making, if they're kind of at that level where they can read, a list. So pink eggs get 1 mini slime and an eraser. Blue eggs get a sticker and 1 piece of candy, something like that. So they're having to go back and forth and read that list and then remember those things to put in the egg. So that's working on a lot of good skills too. And again, that's just like a little tweak that you can do to that activity. So instead of them just putting whatever into whatever eggs, you can make it a little bit more skilled in that way. And they probably won't know it because it'll be fun and it's kind of like a game. So that's the best way to do it. And then of course you can add in a social component. So maybe, with their sibling or a friend, they're giving them instructions. Okay, hey, red egg, you need to put in a sticker and 2 beads. And then, vice versa, the friend or sibling gives that person directions for an egg. And so adding in that reciprocal back and forth social component is always a nice one to add in there too. So then hiding the eggs. So I recommend you hiding the eggs so that they don't know where they are to find them, but you can also redo, the Easter egg hunt once they find them and take turns having someone else hide them prior to opening them up. So you can do a few different Easter egg hunts before they open them up if that's something that they want to do. So again, whether they're hiding them or finding them, they're using a lot of gross motor skills to reach up high, down low, and that sort of thing to hide the eggs. And then of course, if they probably are running around. So those are just different things that you can do. You can also work on directionality. So if they're having a hard time finding an egg, you can give them clues to the left, to the right, up, down. So having to register those directions. It's above the flower, below the plant, that sort of thing. So giving them clues with that. And I think that's it. Oh, and you can also have them run, walk, gallop, skip, bunny hop, anything like that during the Easter egg hunt. So that adds kind of more of that motor planning. So having that plan of what to do in their brain and then having that motor output, which would be their hopping or their skipping. And then lots of coordination with that as well. So, and then once they have their eggs, they open them up, you can do one last activity, which would be visual discrimination skills. So having them sort them by category, whether that's color, size, shape, just category overall, candy, beads, that sort of thing. So one last way to work on that skill, if you can work that in. So that is it for today's coffee chat. And again, I'm working on trying to slow down my voice, but I'm also trying to keep these 10 minutes or less so that just in respect to your time and just to give you a quick activity idea to do during the weekend, and then just different ways that you can grade it to match what your child's interested in and where they're at with their skills. So I will be back next Friday, same time, same place for another coffee chat. And you can also find this on my Thriving Child podcast on Spotify. All right, thank you so much and see you then.